Hi everybody, my name is Michelle and my book talk is going to be on Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's novel, Americana.
To give you guys some background information, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie grew up in Nigeria and moved to the US for college. She's an author and speaker and has given some of TED Talk's most popular speeches, including The Danger of a Single Story and We Should All Be Feminists. I definitely recommend watching both. They're absolutely great speeches. She was awarded fellowships by Princeton, Harvard, and the MacArthur Fellows Program, and she's clearly an extremely successful and established person. As a fun fact, Beyonce chose to open her song Flawless with an excerpt from Adichie's We Should All Be Feminists TED Talk. So if you've heard that song, then that is Adichie's voice. Regarding her awards, she's the author of novels like The Purple Hibiscus, which won the Commonwealth Writers' Prize and the Hurston Wright Legacy Award, Half of a Yellow Sun, which won the Orange Prize and was a National Book Critics Circle Award finalist, and a New York Times notable book, and Americana, which is the book that I'm talking about, which won the National Book Critics Circle Award and was named one of the New York Times top 10 best books of 2013. In terms of Americana style, the novel is not written in a strict chronological order, and readers are often filled in through flashbacks. Overall, Adichie has a beautiful and very detailed writing style, and she definitely makes the 600 pages worthwhile. I mean, it's a brilliant book. In terms of the plot, the novel is centered around the lives of two main characters, Ifemelu and Obinze. So they meet at secondary school and quickly fall in love, and they end up attending college together in Nigeria. But there are frequent strikes and closings at their school because the professors have not been paid. And after spending some time considering this problem, Ifemelu decides to apply to schools in the United States, and she's accepted. At first, Ifemelu is extremely excited about the opportunities that the United States could bring her. But upon her arrival, she's very disappointed to learn that this positive vision of the United States was a distortion. She's met with racism, poverty, unemployment, and she becomes hyper aware of American ethnocentrism. Shortly after being in the United States, she survives an unwanted sexual encounter and becomes extremely depressed. And she can't really bring herself to talk about this with Obinze, and the two lose touch as a result. A large portion of the novel is dedicated to Ifemelu's time in the United States and the changes she faces and observes. For example, she notices that many people from the United States seem to equate straight hair with professionalism, and she endures just horrific third-degree burns from a relaxing product in the hopes that her hair would not be a career deterrent. So I'm actually going to read a short passage about this now. So the passage I'm reading from is on page 250, when she's meeting with her career advisor. When she told Ruth about the interview in Baltimore, Ruth said, "My only advice, lose the braids and straighten your hair. Nobody says this kind of stuff, but it matters. We want you to get that job." Auntie Uju had said something similar in the past, and she had laughed then. Now she knew enough not to laugh. "Thank you," she said to Ruth. So the rest of the passage talks about how Ifemelu was comfortable with braids in her natural hair, but basically she was forced to get it relaxed. So that clearly speaks to the racism that she was faced with upon coming to the United States. Furthermore, she points out a privileged white partner's ignorance about the portrayal of black women in beauty culture, drawing attention to the fact that some of the more popular beauty magazines and fashion magazines underrepresent black women. Furthermore, she observes how marginalized people are criminalized in the United States. For example, her cousin DK had been wrongly accused of hacking at his school because of his race, and she hears about how a black man working at Yale was arrested and accused of selling drugs when he was actually just lending a car to a friend, and her partner, who is an Ivy League professor, was wrongly stopped by cops for drugs because of racial profiling. So eventually, Ifemelu decides to start a blog to document her observations about racism and ethnocentrism in the United States. And in her blog, she uses the context of her own life to frame her discussions. So she writes about her racist experiences in the workplace, racist encounters she experiences while in romantic relationships in the United States. For example, she writes about her observations in dating a privileged white man named Kurt, and a black professor that she names Professor Hunk in her blog. His real name was Blaine. She also blogs her commentary about the United States' shortcomings at large. And this writing is just so cleverly crafted and just very, very insightful. So I'm actually going to read, I think, one of the most powerful passages that she blogs about. So FM's blog post that I am going to be reading from is on pages 403 and 404, and it's called Friendly Tips for the American Non-Black, How to React to an American Black Talking About Blackness. Dear American non-black, if an American black person is telling you about an experience about being black, please do not eagerly bring up examples from your own life. Don't say, it's just like you have suffered. Everyone in this world has suffered, but you have not suffered precisely because you are an American black. Don't be quick to find alternative explanations for what happened. Don't say, oh, it's not really race, it's class. Oh, it's not really race, it's gender. Oh, it's not race, it's the Cookie Monster. You see, American blacks don't want it to be race. They would rather not have racist shit happen. So maybe when they say something is about race, it's maybe because it actually is. Don't say I'm colorblind, because if you're colorblind, then you need to see a doctor, and it means that when a black man is shown on TV as a crime suspect in your neighborhood, all you see is a blurry, purplish, grayish, creamish figure. Don't say we're all tired of talking about race, or the only race is the human race. American blacks, too, are tired of talking about race. They wish they didn't have to, but shit keeps happening. So I'm actually going to jump to the end of this blog post because it's a couple pages long. But she says, racism is about the power of a group in America, and in America, it's white folks who have that power. How? White folks don't get treated like shit in upper-class African-American communities, and white folks don't get denied bank loans or mortgages precisely because they are white. And black juries don't give white criminals worse sentences than black criminals for the same crime, and black police officers don't stop white folk for driving while white and black companies don't choose not to hire somebody because their name sounds white. And this goes on, but we can see the point. And she concludes this with saying, basically, listen. She said, try listening, maybe hear what is being said, and remember that it's not about you. So I think this is a really, really powerful excerpt and a great example of one of her strong, strong blogs. Ultimately, her blogs end up receiving a lot. Life for himself. So at this time he's moving to England, but he faces difficulties making a livable wage. And though the racism in England is less overt than in the United States in some ways, Obenze realizes that racism is still embedded in the society. So, for example, when he's attending his old classmate Emenike's dinner party, he notices that Emenike shields his outrage when explaining a racist event that happened to him with a cab driver with a cab driver because he did not want to seem bothered in front of his white guests. So I'm actually going to read another short passage about it. So this is on page 341. Emenike had told Obenze the story before, and he was struck now by how differently Emenike told it. He did not mention the rage he had felt standing on that street and looking at the cab. He was shaking, he had told Obenze, his hands trembling for a long time, a little frightened by his own feelings, but now sipping the last of his red wine, flowers floating in front of him. He spoke in a tone cleansed of anger, thick only with a kind of superior amusement, while Georgina interjected to clarify. Can you believe that? So clearly the fact that Emenike felt like he should hide the way he felt to attend to the feelings of white people speaks to the many ways that racism manifests. While in England, Obenze is unable to receive a visa and eventually he's deported. So when he returns to Nigeria, his cousin introduces him to a wealthy business tycoon, and Obenze becomes wealthy by selling real estate. He ends up marrying a woman named Kosi, and he observes colorism in Nigeria, and he feels uncomfortable with the fact that his wife takes a lot of pride in being light-skinned. So eventually, Ifemelu decides to return to Nigeria, but she feels sad to be leaving her cousin DK, who is now, at this point, battling with severe depression. And Ifemelu wonders if the racism he has faced in the United States has exacerbated his depression. So she ends up moving back to Lagos, Nigeria, and when DK visits her, he seems really happy. So she ends up writing for a Nigerian magazine for a short period of time, and her attention is drawn to classism. And eventually the novel ends up bringing Obinze and Ifemelu back together. So they meet again, but I'm actually not going to reveal too much about that because I do not want to spoil the novel's ending. So as I've discussed, Americana takes on a number of challenging topics and issues. Those include racism, sexism, colorism, ethnocentrism, Americanness, the dangers of a single story, the shortcomings of capitalism and unemployment, nationalism, and mental illness. Although these things can be very challenging to talk about since they're very heavy subjects, I think it's critical that we do, and I think Adichie does this incredibly well. This is such an important book, and I would definitely recommend this to a person of any age. If you liked Sam's radio talks and the Netflix series Dear White People, you will also enjoy reading Ifemelu's blog. Ultimately, this book will make you think critically about a multitude of social issues surrounding racism, and the book is both a revealing text about racism and a beautiful love story, and I definitely encourage everyone to read it and consider introducing it to their future students. Thank you so much for listening to my book talk, and in the spirit of the novel, I'm actually going to conclude this by playing the song that Ifemelu and Obinze listen to when they meet again in Nigeria. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Aye, yoli yoli, aye, Chineke me, I'm with you, my a planet, aye, yoli yoli, aye, rocket I'm with you, my love. With you, everything is well. Your love, they make my heart to do yoli yoli. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. With you, everything is well. Your love, they make my heart to do yoli yoli. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. Same thing, way they make me feel like say you go be my wife. Now the same thing whipping they make my friend talk say I dey waste my time. Now because I dey respect you, girl, spending for you every night and day. I dey pray for you, because of you I dey fly like butterfly, my love. Now this thing make people they say I don't lose my sense, my brain, but nobody can stop me from loving you. I'm with you, my love. With you everything is well. Your love they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. With you everything is well. Your love they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. You see the way all the things they flow. So I'm surprised to see how they love you so. Girl, I dey suspect say them no. Say that you be the person where they make me flow. Ooh, I tell them say you are the blessing, and that's why you are so interesting. Nobody is understanding the way you are. Oh my beautiful girl. Now all this make people they say I don't lose my sense, my pain, but they can't stop me from loving you. I'm with you, my love. With you everything is well. Your love they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. With you everything is well. Your love they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. Your love they affect my brain, and two they make me go insane. It go make sense if you come my place. If you no hear them, I go talk am again. Your love they affect my brain. Oh my love, I they go insane. Just leave them the way he be, the way he is. Oh my love. Now all this make people they say I don't lose my sense, my brain, but they can't stop me from loving you. I'm with you, my love. Everything is well. Your love they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. With you everything is well. Your love they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. I'm with you, my love. Everything is well. Your love they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. With you everything is well. Your love they make my heart to do yori yori. Nobody can love you the way I do. I'm with you, my love. Yeah, yori yori, yeah, yori. They come zile, my love, my love, ooh, my love. Nobody can stop me from loving you. love it, love it.